If a place can look like a tea kettle that's just about to boil over, it's the Okavango. 1 minute the water lies still and shiny, and the next, the whole marsh seems to wake up with a breath and a growl. This is Africa's Great Flood Delta, where every ripple can hide danger, and every patch of grass can be a refuge. We're heading into a world ruled by water, where lions learn to swim, wild dogs hunt with razor-sharp teamwork, crocodiles wait under the surface, and hippos turn calm channels into territory you do not want to cross. It's beautiful here, yes, but it is never quiet for long. If you love wild places, drop a hello in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. We're about to step into one of the hardest, wildest places on Earth, and there's no turning back. Have you ever seen a place where the land seems to turn into water right before your eyes? In the Okavango Delta, that is exactly what happens. Shallow floodwater spreads across the marshes and slips through the reeds like a silver sheet at sunrise. The air feels cool, damp, and full of life. Every sound seems to carry farther here. A splash, a bird call, the soft rustle of grass in the breeze. This is not a river in the usual sense, and it is not a lake either. It is a flood-fed world that changes with the seasons, and it holds some of Africa's great hunters, grazers, and survivors. Lions, wild dogs, crocodiles, and hippos all live here, each one tied to the water in its own way. The first thing you notice is the smell. Hot grass, dry dust, and a faint animal musk hanging in the air after sunrise. Then comes the sound. Crickets ticking in the brush, birds calling from thorn trees, and somewhere far off, the low grumble of cattle in a dusty yard. This is the East African savannah, a wide open country of waving grass, scattered acacia trees, and big skies that seem to go on forever. In the cool morning, the land can feel soft and calm. By midday, it turns bright, hot, and sharp. It is home to some of Africa's best-known animals, including lions, zebras, giraffes, elephants, wildebeest, hyenas, and cheetahs. Every patch of shade matters here. Every drop of water matters more. And out on this plain, life is always moving, always watching, always waiting for the next meal, the next storm, or the next chance to survive. In the middle of all that noise and danger, there is a smaller creature that does not hurry for anyone. It moves through the grass like it owns the shadows, calm as a closed hand. You might catch a flash of black and white, then nothing. Just a low shape, slipping past roots and stones, as if the ground itself had learned to walk. That is the honey badger, a little animal with a fearsome reputation and a stubborn streak that borders on wild courage. It lives across much of Africa, including places like the Okavango and the surrounding savannas, where every meal can turn into a fight. And when it shows up, bigger animals often think twice. This badger is built for trouble, and it usually wins the argument. The honey badger has a body only about 1 foot 9 inches long, but it carries itself like something far larger. Its skin is loose, thick, and hard to grip, which is a clever defense when teeth and claws come flying. The back is pale and striped, while the rest of the body is dark, almost like a small animal wearing a bold painted coat. The head is broad, the snout sharp, and the claws are long and strong for digging into burrows, bee nests, and hidden dens. Those claws are not for show. They are tools. It can tear open soil, pry apart logs, and even work its way through tough nests to reach food. And then there is the face, small eyes, a determined look, a kind of calm that says, this animal has no plans to back down. It has the build of a wrestler packed into a body not much bigger than a house cat, except this one is far more dangerous to cross. The honey badger spends its days on the move, usually alone, searching for just about anything it can eat. It is an opportunist in the best and worst sense of the word. Eggs, insects, lizards, birds, small mammals, roots, bulbs, fruit, even carrion when it finds it. If there is food nearby, the honey badger has probably already thought about it. And yes, honey is part of the story too. It will raid beehives, ignore the stings, and push forward through the pain to get to the reward. That is where the name comes from. But the real truth is bigger than honey. This animal is an all-around survivor. It can dig fast. It can climb. It can squeeze into tight places. It can keep going when another animal would give up. In the heat of the day, it may rest in a burrow or under cover. Later, it heads out again, nose to the ground, always searching. It does not waste energy on drama. It just keeps working. That stubbornness also helps explain why it is such a headache for predators. Lions, leopards, dogs, and even snakes may see it as a target, but the honey badger often answers with teeth, claws, and pure nerve. It is not reckless. It is relentless. Family life for honey badgers stays mostly private. They are usually solitary, and each adult keeps to its own space. Mothers raise their young in dens, hidden away where the cubs can stay safe and warm. A female may have just 1 or 2 young, and for a while, those cubs depend completely on her. She feeds them, moves them, and teaches them how to survive in a place that gives no free passes. The young stay close at first, often tucked into a den when danger passes nearby. As they grow, they learn the same lessons their mother already knows. where to dig, when to wait, and when to fight. The honey badger does not rely on a group for protection. It relies on skill, boldness, and a body that seems made for escape. It also has an important role in the landscape. By digging, it turns over soil and opens burrows that other animals may later use. By hunting rodents and insects, it helps keep those populations in check. It is one more working part of a bigger system, quiet but useful. And even though it is not usually the star of the show, it reminds us that size is not everything. In places like Okavango, being tough enough to survive can matter just as much as being strong. Now picture late afternoon fading into evening. The light is soft, the grass tips gold, and the air has gone still in that uneasy way that often means something is watching. A wild dog pack has been on the move, and the den is exposed. The pups are hidden underground, but one small shape has caught the scent of trouble. It is the honey badger, low to the ground, straight toward the burrow. No hesitation. The dogs bark and rush back, their feet thudding hard through the dust. For a moment, there is only motion, snaps of jaws, quick steps, dust rising. The badger gets dragged into a ring of danger and turns to face it, teeth bared, body braced like a spring. The dogs circle, smart enough not to rush in carelessly. The badger cannot win by force alone. So it does what it does best. It stays mean, stays tough, and waits for the first opening. Then, just as fast as it arrived, it is gone, leaving behind a shaken pack and a den still standing. That is the honey badger in a nutshell. Small, fearless, and never easy to forget. Think of a neighborhood where every face knows every other face, where the children stick close, the adults keep watch, and one sharp call can send the whole group scrambling in different directions. That is life for baboons on the East African savannah. They live right out in the open, where the grass is low, the sun is hard, and danger can arrive in a heartbeat. You see them on rocky ground, near acacia trees, and along the edge of the plains, always on the move, always alert. Baboons are smart, noisy, and full of personality. They spend their days searching for food, grooming one another, and keeping a close eye on the young. And when trouble shows up, they do not simply run. They shout, gather, and stand their ground as a group. The first thing you notice is the face. Strong jaws, long teeth, deep-set eyes that seem to miss nothing. Their bodies are built for life on the ground, with arms and legs that can carry them over rough country fast. Their fur is thick and shaggy, usually gray-brown, but the face and hands often stand out in darker skin. Males are bigger and heavier, with broad shoulders and a more powerful build. Their long, dog-like faces give them a serious look, almost like old men in fur coats. But do not let that fool you. These animals are quick, alert, and always reading the world around them. A baboon troop can have many members, and that makes family life busy from sunrise to sunset. Mothers carry tiny infants close at first, then let them cling to their bellies as they grow. Young baboons learn by watching. They copy the older animals, follow the troop, and slowly figure out where to feed, where to rest, and when to keep still. Grooming matters a lot. One baboon picks through another's fur, removing dirt and insects, and that simple act helps hold the group together. It calms tempers too. If you watch long enough, you can see how much baboons rely on each other. There is constant talking in their own way. Grunts, barks, squeals, and alarm calls all carry meaning. A troop may be spread out while feeding, but one warning sound can pull everyone into a tighter knot in seconds. That group life is no accident. Out here, safety comes from numbers and from paying attention. Baboons eat a wide mix of foods. They pick fruits, seeds, roots, leaves, insects, and sometimes small animals if they get the chance. They are not picky. They are practical. One day, they may be feeding in the shade of trees. The next, they are crossing open ground where every movement matters. They often start and end the day looking for food, resting in the heat, and then moving again when the light softens. They have to be careful around predators, especially when the troop is split up or when the young wander too far. A leopard, a lion, or even a hungry eagle can turn a normal day into a desperate scramble. So baboons stay busy. They scan the sky. They glance into the grass. They listen while they feed. Their lives are ruled by caution, but not fear. There is a difference. Baboons matter because they help carry seeds, clean up what they eat, and move energy through the savannah in a way that supports other animals. They are part of the daily rhythm of the plains, both as survivors and as a meal for larger hunters. Their sharp minds, strong social bonds, and ability to live in rough places have helped them hold on for a long time. But that closeness to people can also bring trouble, from conflict near farms to loss of space as land changes. Still, where there are trees, rocks, and open ground, baboons keep finding a way to make a living. And once you have watched a troop move across the savannah with that mix of caution, noise, and confidence, you do not forget it. They remind us that on the open plains, being clever can be just as important as being strong. Have you ever stood beside a river and felt like the water was watching you back? The Luangwa River has that kind of presence. It winds through a broad valley in eastern Zambia, carrying muddy water, tall grasses, and the low sounds of a place that never fully rests. In the heat of the day, the banks shimmer. At dusk, the shadows stretch long and the air fills with life. You may see elephants coming down to drink, hippos surfacing in the shallows, crocodiles holding still like carved logs, and antelope moving nervously along the edge. This is a river that feeds the land and at the same time asks a lot from everything that lives beside it. The crocodile of Okavango is a true giant of the waterways. Its body is long, low, and armored, with rough scales that look like old river stone. It can weigh well over 200 ki, and its jaws can deliver a bite force exceeding 1,700 ki, the strongest of any living creature. That mouth is full of teeth built for grabbing, not chewing. Once the jaws close, escape gets very hard, very fast. But this animal is not just about power. It also belongs here in a deeper way. It has lived through over 200 million years of change, and still it waits in the same muddy channels, the same reed edges, the same quiet bends where land and water meet. If you watch a crocodile long enough, you start to understand its style. It does not waste energy. It does not rush. It holds still with just the eyes and nostrils above the water and lets the world come to it. A fish moving too close, a bird landing at the edge, a thirsty antelope stepping down for a drink. That is when the body moves. No warning, no long chase, just a sudden break in the water and a violent strike. One roll of the body underwater can tear a prey animal apart in seconds. It is a hard way to live, but it works here, where every small mistake can become the last one. And when the floodwaters spread across the delta, crocodiles become part of the landscape itself, drifting under lilies, resting near banks, and waiting in places that seem empty until the moment they are not. For all its fearsome power, the crocodile also gives back to the delta in its own quiet way. Its sleeping hollows and resting places can hold water during the dry season, creating small pools that help other animals survive when the wider marsh begins to shrink. In that sense, it is more than a hunter. It is also a keeper of water. That may sound strange, but in Okavango, even the most dangerous animals can help hold the whole place together. Still, this ancient survivor is under pressure now. Water pollution and the conversion of land for farming are shrinking its home. A creature that survived mass extinction after mass extinction is now being pushed back by human change. Not by speed, not by strength, by the slow loss of space. And then there is family life, which on the surface might seem simple, but is not. Crocodiles do not raise their young in the soft, gentle way people might imagine. The young hatch small and vulnerable, and from that very first moment, the world is full of danger. They must learn quickly, stay near safe water, and avoid becoming a meal themselves. The mother's care is not showy, but it is real. She guards, she watches, she stays close when she can. Out here, even tiny hatchlings carry the future of a species that has outlasted so much already. What makes the crocodile so important in Okavango is not just its strength, but its role as a quiet ruler of the waterways. It keeps the edges of the marsh honest. It reminds every animal that water is not a place to relax. It also helps shape where other creatures feed and drink. In a place like this, that matters. The whole system depends on who can move, who can wait, and who can survive the next surprise under the surface. By late afternoon, the heat has softened, but the water still feels tense. A herd comes down to drink. Birds lift off the reeds. The air is full of small warning sounds. Then the surface shifts. One ripple, then another. A buffalo steps closer. A hippo grunts in the distance. The crocodile does not move. It waits. The herd drinks, shoulders tight, ears flicking. A calf edges forward. Everything seems still, and that is exactly when danger is closest. Then the water explodes. The strike is sudden, dark and final looking, and the whole bank erupts into panic. Hooves pound, wings flash, water flies in all directions. For a few seconds, the delta turns wild and raw, each animal fighting to stay alive. And then just as fast, the chaos fades. The surface settles. The reeds sway again. And the old river hunter sinks back into silence as if nothing at all had happened. The surprising thing about the Limpopo River is this. For much of the year, it can look calm and almost quiet, yet it still helps shape life far beyond its banks. This is a river that winds through a hot, open land where every patch of shade matters, and every drink of water can mean the difference between staying and moving on. Along its edges, you may hear birds calling from the reeds, frogs starting up after dark, and the soft shuffle of animals coming down to drink. In places like this, the river is never just water. It is a meeting point. Elephants, antelope, crocodiles, hippos, and a long list of smaller creatures all depend on it. And because so many lives gather here, the Limpopo always feels like the place where something is waiting to happen. The grass is almost silent here, just a low rustle in the reeds, a soft pad of feet on damp earth, and the faint, sharp scent of the morning air after floodwater has moved on. Then, out of that quiet, a shape appears with a kind of calm confidence that feels almost too gentle for a land like this. This is the African wild dog, one of the Okavango's most skillful hunters and one of its most threatened. It lives in packs, moving across the delta with purpose, speed, and perfect timing. And when it hunts, it does it as a team. No wasted motion, no chaos. Just trust. They may weigh only about 25 kg, but in this watery world, they can outthink much bigger animals. Watch them for long enough, and you begin to see that their power is not in size, it is in unity. Look at their coat first, and you understand why they are so easy to recognize. No two dogs seem painted the same way. Their bodies carry patches of black, white, brown, and gold, like someone dipped them in a brush full of color and never used the same pattern twice. Long legs give them a springy, tireless stride. Their ears are huge and rounded, almost like open hands, catching every sound. Those ears do more than make them look alert. They help them listen for danger, for the start of a hunt, for the calls of their own pack. And then there is that face. Narrow muzzle, bright eyes, a look that seems both gentle and hard-edged at the same time. They are built for endurance, for running down prey in a way that wears the other side out, long before it wears them out. In the Okavango, where water, mud, and grass keep changing the rules, that kind of body is a real advantage. But the most striking thing about them is not how they look. It is how they move together. A wild dog pack is always busy. They are up early, on the move, scanning the grasslands, checking old tracks, testing the wind. Their day is shaped by hunger, but also by planning. They do not rush into a chase without a reason. They watch, they listen, they gather. Then the pack starts that curious little greeting ritual. Licking faces, nuzzling heads together, like a family getting ready for work. It is not just affection. It is a way of pulling everyone into the same plan. After that, the hunt can begin. And once it starts, every dog knows its part. They run the prey in waves, turning, pressing, pushing, never letting the targets settle. They are not the biggest hunters here, but they are among the most effective. The transcript puts their hunting success rate at up to 80%, higher than lions and leopards, and that says a lot about how well they work as a group. They often go after wildebeest and other medium-sized animals, and they can wear them down by targeting the legs, the belly, and the muzzle until the prey slows and finally falls. Then comes the meal, and even that is shared. The young eat first. The sick are not forgotten. In a world where every mouth matters, they make room for the weakest members of the pack. That is one of the reasons people remember wild dogs so deeply. They are fierce, yes, but they are also loyal in a way that feels almost human. Family is everything to them. A pack is more than just a hunting group. It is a home, a nursery, a defense line, and a memory bank all at once. In the breeding season, a litter can have 12 pups, blind and helpless in a den, waiting for the world to feed them. Every adult helps. They bring food back. They watch the entrance. They stand guard when danger comes too close. And danger does come close. Hyenas, much bigger and stronger, will try to push into their territory and threaten the pups. But wild dogs do not panic. They counterattack with speed and teamwork, driving the intruders back from the den. That kind of loyalty is what keeps a pack alive. It is also what makes every loss so hard. If the pack disappears, it is not just a few animals gone. A whole way of life disappears with them. Across Africa, fewer than 6,600 remain. That is a small number for such a wide-ranging hunter. Rabies from domestic dogs, snares set by people, and habitat loss are all taking their toll. As land gets broken up by fences and farms, these dogs lose the room they need to roam. In Okavango, they also help shape the land itself. Their hunts move prey herds around, giving grasslands time to recover. So they are not just chasing food. They are helping keep the whole system moving. And that makes their future matter far beyond their own pack. Then comes evening, and the world seems to hold its breath. The light fades over the marshes. Reeds turn dark. The pack is moving near the edge of the water, and ahead of them, the land opens into a shadowy strip of grass and mud. A herd of prey has been feeding there, nervous and half listening, as animals do when they know they are not alone. One wild dog pauses, another circles wide. The pups are back at the den, hidden and safe for the moment, but the adults are fully awake now. They fan out. One darts forward, another follows. The herd starts to shift, then to run. Hooves strike wet ground. Grass parts. A bird lifts off in a burst of wings. For a few seconds, the whole shoreline feels like it is unraveling. The wild dogs keep pace, heads low, legs flying, working together without a word. No one breaks rank. No one gets left behind. Then the chase bends away into the dusk, and the noise settles. The water goes still again. And in that quiet, you are left with something simple and powerful. In a place this hard, survival is not always about strength. Sometimes it is about trust. Imagine a bathroom scale that keeps climbing and climbing until it stops at 4 tons. Now picture that same giant stepping into shallow water like it owns the place, with a calm face and a temper you would never want to test. That is the kind of power we are talking about here. In the Okavango, The water suddenly feels smaller when this animal rises from below the surface. It is one of the most important creatures in the delta, and one of the most dangerous if you happen to be standing too close. The hippo does not need to chase anyone to command respect. It just has to lift its head. These big river guardians shape the water, feed the fish, and keep the whole system going. And as the floodplain changes, their future is starting to look less certain. A hippo is easy to admire from a distance. Up close, it is a whole different story. A hippopotamus lives in the rivers, pools, and deep channels of the Okavango, where it spends much of the day resting in water and moving out at night to feed on grass. At first glance, it looks almost clumsy, like a giant barrel with legs. But that impression does not last long. The body is huge and round, built like a tank with a smooth grey skin that glistens when it comes up from the water. The head is massive, and the mouth can open to 180 degrees, wide enough to make anyone back up fast. Those teeth are not for chewing grass. They are for warning, for fighting, for defending a patch of water. And when a male turns and flings that tail around to spray dung, he is not being messy. He is sending a clear message to every other hippo nearby. This is my space. Hippos spend their days half submerged, keeping cool and safe from the sun. But when evening comes, they head onto land to graze. They can run at 30 km on land, which is one of those facts that surprises people right before they remember that this lazy river giant can outrun a person in a heartbeat. Most of their meals are grass, and they may travel far under cover of darkness to find enough to eat. Then, before dawn, they are back in the water again. In that routine, the river and the bank are both part of the same daily path. Hippos do more than just feed themselves. Every day, they drop hundreds of kilograms of organic matter into the water. That waste helps feed algae, fish, and all the small life that depends on the river below the surface. In a place like the Okavango, that matters more than most people realize. A river without hippos would not just lose a big animal, it would lose a worker that helps keep the whole water system alive. Hippos also live with strong family ties, though not the gentle kind we like to imagine. They gather in pods in the water, usually around one dominant male and several females with young. The calves stay close to their mothers, tucked safely beside them in the pool. A newborn calf needs clean water to breathe and a safe place to grow, and that is not always guaranteed. If the water gets polluted or the flood levels drop too low, the young suffer first. The adults may still look solid and steady, but their world depends on the rise and fall of the river. Male hippos are not shy about defending territory. If another male crosses the line, the challenge can explode without warning. There is no polite warning here, no long standoff full of sounds and gestures. It can turn into a crash of jaw against jaw, with huge bodies surging in the shallows until one backs off. It is raw power, plain and simple. And yet behind all that force, there is a surprising kind of order. Hippos keep certain channels open, stir the water, and help shape the river edges where other animals drink, feed, and move through the delta. Their presence is part of the rhythm of the place. That is why people who study the Okavango worry when the flood levels start to change. Prolonged drought, shrinking water, and ivory poaching are all pushing hippos toward a harder future. It is not a fast collapse, but it is a real one. And in a wetland as alive as this, losing hippos would leave a gap you could feel in the water itself. Their importance is easy to miss if you only see the teeth. But in the Okavango, the big heavy things often hold the whole place together. Now imagine late afternoon at the edge of a wide channel. The light is soft, the reeds are still, and the water looks almost sleepy. Then a dark shape surfaces with a slow lift of the head. Nearby, a crocodile lies low, with only its eyes showing. A few birds step along the mud. Then the scene tightens. A calf nudges close to its mother. A male hippo shifts position. Another one answers with a deep grunt from farther down the bank. The whole pool seems to wake up at once. One splash, then another. The crocodile slides deeper. The birds lift off in a rush of wings. Everything that can move does move. And for a moment, the river feels like it is holding its breath. Then the tension eases. The hippos settle again, half hidden in the water, and the surface goes calm, as if nothing happened. But you know better now. Beneath that stillness, the Okavango is always at work, and the hippo is one of the great reasons it keeps flowing. You might expect a place this dry to feel empty, but step out onto the African savannah, and the land seems to be breathing all around you. The grass ripples in the wind like a moving blanket. Termites build little towers from the earth. Birds call from scattered trees. And somewhere in that wide open space, a herd of wildebeest grazes under the watchful eyes of lions, hyenas, cheetahs, and leopards. It is open country, yes, but never simple. Every patch of shade, every muddy dip, every line of grass can mean life or death. This is the hunting ground, the feeding ground, and the nursery for so many animals that depend on one another. And as we move deeper into this world, we are stepping into a place where speed, patience, and timing can decide everything. Have you ever watched a field seem empty one moment, then suddenly feel alive with motion the next? That is the kind of surprise this cat brings with it. In the heat of the African day, when the grass shimmers and the air seems to stand still, a spotted hunter can turn a quiet plain into a place of raw urgency. The cheetah lives for those split seconds when everything lines up just right. It is built for speed, but speed alone does not make a life here. It has to read the land, watch the wind, and choose the right moment with care. And in the wide-open savannah, one mistake can mean going hungry. So let's meet one of the fastest hunters on Earth and see how it survives in a world where every chase matters. The cheetah lives across parts of Africa, including open grasslands and dry savannas, where it has room to run. What makes it stand out is simple. It is all about quick bursts, not long fights. From a distance, the cheetah can look almost fragile, but up close, it is built like a racing machine shaped by the sun. Its body is slim and light, with long legs that seem made for springing forward. The chest is narrow, the waist tucked in, and the shoulders and hips give it a smooth, flowing stride. Its coat is pale gold with black spots, like sunlight dropped across the grass, and on its face, those dark tear marks run from the eyes to the mouth, almost like streaks left by rain. Those marks may help cut glare from the bright sky. Even its tail plays a part, acting like a steering wheel when it makes sharp turns at full speed. A cheetah does not spend its day wandering aimlessly. It spends long stretches watching. It may rest in the shade, head up, eyes fixed on the horizon. Then when antelope or other small prey starts to move, the whole body changes. It lowers close to the ground. The shoulders tighten. The tail lifts. And then comes the burst. A cheetah can reach around 112 kilometers an hour for a short sprint, but that speed burns energy fast. It cannot keep it up for long, so the hunt has to be clean and fast. It uses open ground, quick decisions, and a sudden rush that leaves prey little time to think. The chase is often brief, but it is never casual. One turn, one stumble, one extra second can decide everything. If the first rush fails, the cheetah usually has to stop and recover. That is the hard truth of its life. It is a hunter that wins through timing, not force. Family life for a cheetah can be a lonely road. Adults often live alone, especially males, while females move through larger areas on their own, except when raising cubs. A mother may have a litter of cubs and keep them hidden in grass or under low cover, where they are safer from danger. She teaches them by example. At first, the young simply follow. They watch how she moves, how she freezes, how she uses the wind and the grass. Later, they begin to practice the chase on small prey or even on each other, all in play that is really training. Those lessons matter because cheetah cubs face a hard world. Lions, hyenas, and other predators can kill them, and the mother cannot always stay close enough to stop that. So she has to be careful, moving the family often, keeping them hidden, and staying alert day and night. A cheetah mother does a lot with very little help. That is part of what makes her story so moving. There is no loud pride around her, no pack to lean on, just a mother, her young, and the skills she passes on one careful day at a time. The cheetah matters because it helps keep prey populations in check, especially smaller and medium-sized animals. It also reminds us how much open land a hunter needs to survive. Unlike animals that can push through thick bush or fight for a carcass, the cheetah depends on space, sight lines, and room to run. That means it is deeply tied to healthy grasslands. When land gets broken up by fences, farms, and roads, cheetahs lose the room they need. Their numbers have also been pushed down by conflict with people and the loss of prey. In some places, protected areas and careful conservation work are helping, but the pressure is still real. Each cheetah is carrying a lot on those narrow shoulders. Out on the savannah, the sun starts to drop and the light turns soft and golden. A gazelle lifts its head. A cheetah freezes. For a long moment, nothing moves at all. Then the grass explodes. Dust flies. Hooves drum the earth. The cheetah leans into the chase, tail swinging, body low and fast, while the prey scatters in every direction. It is over in seconds, but those seconds hold everything: hunger, skill, fear, and the hard beauty of life on the edge. And when the dust settles, the plain grows quiet again, as if it has kept the secret. The branch trembles first, not from the wind, but from a careful shift of weight, high above the ground. Below, the late afternoon light is warm and dusty, and the whole tree seems to hold its breath. Then a shape slips into view, moving so quietly you might miss it if you blink. That is the secret of the leopard. It does not announce itself. It arrives like a shadow, with pause. Leopards live across much of Africa, including the Okavango and the savannas beyond it. And one thing makes them stand out right away. They can vanish into their own surroundings as if they were made of bark, grass, and moonlight. They are strong, patient, and built for surprise. And that gives them a very different kind of power. A leopard's body is all muscle under a coat of gold, black rosettes, and a long tail that acts like a built-in balance pole. It moves with a smooth, rolling step, almost soft for such a powerful cat. Those dark spots are not just pretty, they break up the shape of the body in dappled light, which is why a leopard can lie still for so long and still feel almost impossible to find. Its head is rounded and solid, with eyes that seem to measure everything at once. The ears are small and alert. The jaws are built to grip and carry. This cat can climb with a kill heavier than many people could lift, and that alone tells you what kind of life it leads. Most of the day, a leopard keeps to the cover of trees, thick brush, or rocky ground, moving when it needs to and resting when it can. It hunts mostly alone. That means every meal is up to one pair of eyes, one set of muscles, one moment of timing. It takes antelope, warthogs, birds, and smaller animals when the chance comes. And when food is scarce or danger is near, it uses height to its advantage. A tree is not just a perch for a leopard. It is a pantry, a hiding place, and a refuge all at once. If it makes a kill, it often hauls it up off the ground to keep scavengers away. That habit matters more than it looks. In a place where lions, hyenas, and other hungry animals are always close by, the leopard's treetop meals can mean the difference between eating and losing everything. A mother leopard has an especially hard job. She raises her cubs alone, hiding them in dense cover or a hollow tree while she goes off to hunt. For the first few months, those cubs depend on secrecy more than strength. She returns with food, calls to them softly, and guides them through the first lessons of survival. There is no pack to help her, no crowd to back her up, just a careful mother and two small lives that must learn fast. That is part of what makes leopards so special. They are hunters, yes, but they are also masters of patience. They do not waste movement. They do not waste energy. They wait for the right moment, then move with all their power, packed into a few quiet seconds. In a landscape like this, that skill is everything. The leopard also keeps the food web in line by taking out the weak, the young, and the careless. That may sound harsh, but it helps keep herds healthier and pushes prey animals to stay alert and moving. And because leopards can live in wooded edges, riverbanks, and rough country where other big cats may struggle, they help connect all these different spaces. Even so, they are under pressure from people as more land is cleared, fenced, and broken into pieces. When a leopard's world shrinks, its choices shrink too. Still, there is something deeply stirring about seeing one thrive. It reminds us that silence can be a kind of strength. It reminds us that survival is not always loud. Then the moment breaks open. A warning cry snaps through the trees, and the calm is gone in an instant. A young antelope bolts from the grass, all legs and panic, while a leopard drops from cover and races low to the ground. Dust flies. Birds burst upward in a black scatter. For a few heartbeats, everything is motion. The antelope veers toward open ground, desperate for space. The leopard cuts the angle, not chasing straight behind, but slipping across the path, like a thief crossing a hallway. It is close now, too close. The prey lunges again, and the cat gathers itself for one final burst. But then a louder commotion rises from nearby brush. Something bigger has noticed the chase. The leopard freezes. That is the thing about this land. Even the top hunter cannot afford to hold the spotlight for long. One bad second can turn a meal into a loss. The cat melts back into shadow, and just like that, the drama is over. The grass settles. The dust drifts down. And the leopard is gone, leaving only a faint line in the dirt and a feeling that the forest itself just blinked. If you could give a tank a grin, a bad attitude, and a set of teeth longer than your hand, you might get something like this. There is a stillness in the riverbank that feels almost friendly at first. Then the water gives the game away. Just under the surface, a pair of eyes floats in the glare, and a rough, armored back waits like a hidden log. Meet the Nile crocodile, one of the oldest survivors on Earth and one of the most patient hunters in Africa. In the Limpopo River and other warm waters across the region, it spends its days half hidden, half waiting, and waiting is what it does best. Its body is built for ambush, with a tail like a heavy paddle, skin like old leather, and jaws that can close faster than most animals can even blink. Most of the time, it does not need to move at all. It just needs the world to come a little closer. The Nile crocodile can sit for hours with barely a ripple around it. That stillness is part of the trick. Fish drift near, birds land at the edge. Antelope come to drink, and all the while, the crocodile is watching, reading every step, every splash, every small mistake. When it eats, it goes after what comes within reach. It may grab fish, birds, frogs, or larger animals that venture too far into the water. The strike is sudden, no warning. 1 second, the river looks empty. The next second, it explodes. Then comes the roll, that spinning twist that can drag a struggling animal under and tear it apart in seconds. It is hard to think of a calmer face hiding so much force. But this is not a creature that spends all its time killing. It also shapes the river in quieter ways. Crocodiles dig channels and carve out sleeping hollows that hold water when the dry season bites hard. Those little pools can become life-saving stops for fish and other animals when the river shrinks and the heat grows cruel. In that way, the crocodile is part hunter, part river engineer. It helps keep the wet places open. Its rough body tells a story all by itself. The head is broad and flat, built low to the water, like a living trap door. The eyes sit high, so it can see while the rest of the body stays hidden. The scaly back is lined with bony plates, almost like old armor left out in the sun. Even the tail is not just for swimming, it is a powerful engine, one hard sweep at a time. On land, the animal may look slow and clumsy, but in the water, it can move with shocking speed. That is where it owns the ground, or rather, the river. Family life here is rough, but there is care in it too. A mother crocodile guards her nest and the young that hatch from it, and she can be fiercely protective. Tiny hatchlings are easy targets, so the first days are full of danger. Sometimes the young ride out the early weeks in groups, staying close to the edge and learning fast. Calls, splashes, and body language all matter here. A warning hiss, a sudden shift in the water, a head lift at the wrong moment. Around a crocodile, silence is never empty. It is loaded. This animal matters because it sits right at the center of river life. It helps control animals that come to drink, and it also makes sure some water remains usable when the dry season deepens. Without that patient presence, river life would feel very different. But the species is under pressure. Water pollution and the conversion of land for farms are shrinking the places it can live. Even an animal that has survived for more than 200 million years can be squeezed by human choices. That is a hard thought, but it also makes the remaining wild places matter even more. And just beneath that calm river skin, the old hunter is still there, holding its breath, waiting for the next ripple to tell the story. Half a million wildebeest calves can be born in just 3 weeks during the calving season. That is a flood of new life across the savannah. But for each tiny calf, the world is already full of danger. One wrong move, one stumble, and the grass can turn deadly in a heartbeat. This is the kind of place where mothers stay alert, predators wait low in the grass, and every breath matters. The African savannah may look open and peaceful from a distance, but up close, it is all pressure and motion. If you love this wild country, tell me hello in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. Across these plains, the story is never just about survival. It is about speed, nerves, and timing. And right now, one of the great travelers of Africa is stepping into the spotlight. The wildebeest roams the savannah in huge herds, especially across East Africa, and it is built for life on the move. At first glance, it can seem like a bundle of rough gray-brown fur and sharp angles, but look again, and you see a body made for endurance. The head is heavy and strong. The shoulders rise higher than the hips. The beard hangs low. The tail flicks like a fly swatter. And those curved horns give it a look that is both awkward and tough, like a machine assembled from spare parts but ready for anything. A wildebeest can weigh up to 150 kilograms, and even with that bulk, it can run at 60 kilometers per hour when it needs to. That speed matters a lot. On these plains, the day for a wildebeest is mostly about grazing, walking, and keeping an eye on the horizon. It feeds on grass, moving with the seasons and following the rains. The herds do not stay still for long. They keep shifting, searching for fresh feeding grounds, and in doing that, they shape the land around them. Big herds trim the grass, stir up insects, and leave behind droppings that feed the soil. Nothing about their movement is wasted, but every meal comes with a risk. Lions watch from the shade. Cheetahs look for a calf that lags behind. Hyenas wait for weakness or for a mother to lose sight of her young. Wildebeest survive not because they are the strongest animals out here, but because they move together and keep going. They live in herds for a reason. Safety grows in numbers. One animal can be spotted and singled out. A herd is harder to break. The calls between them are rough and low, almost like grunts, and those sounds help keep the group together when the grass is tall and the wind is up. Mothers stay close to their calves in the beginning, and the young have to learn fast. There is no long childhood here. A calf must stand within minutes and run within an hour. That sounds almost impossible, but that is the rule of the savannah. The first days are the hardest. The calves are unsteady at first, and every mother knows the danger. If the herd moves too soon, a calf can get lost. If it stays too long in one place, predators notice. So the whole family is always reading the land, reading the wind, reading each other. Wildebeest may not seem graceful, but they are built for the life they live. Their power is not in elegance. It is in endurance. They keep the grasses from growing too thick, and they help feed the hunters that depend on them. In that way, they sit right in the middle of the savannah's great food web. Take them away, and a lot of other lives would change too. They are a moving link between fresh grass and the predators that follow. And because so many calves are born in a short burst, the whole plain seems to wake up at once. New life, new risk, new motion. That is the rhythm here, and it never really stops. Just before sunset, the light turns gold and the grass begins to glow. A herd bunches tightly near a shallow water hole, calves tucked in the middle, adults facing outward. Then the first sign comes. Ears lift. Heads turn. Dust moves where no wind should be. A lioness is coming in low from the edge of the grass, while two hyenas drift in from the far side, hoping for a mistake. The wildebeest tense up. Then a calf bolts. The whole herd snaps into motion. Hooves hit the ground. Dust explodes. Mothers call out. One calf stumbles, catches itself, and surges forward again as a cheetah bursts from cover and gives chase. For a few heartbeats, everything is speed and fear and noise. The cheetah gains ground, then loses it. The lioness cuts one way, the herd swings another, and the hyenas hang back, looking for the easiest opening. It is chaos, but not random chaos. The wildebeest are reading each other, watching the threat, and choosing the path that gives the calves the best chance. Then, almost as quickly as it started, the pressure begins to fade. The herd regroups. The calves press back against their mothers. The dust settles, and the plain grows quiet again, as if nothing happened. But everything has changed, at least for tonight. If you think a laugh has no place in the grasslands, wait until you see a hyena at work. It has the odd, hunched walk of a pickup truck with one bad wheel, and yet it can move with shocking speed when the moment comes. Then there is that wild face, all eyes and teeth, as if the animal was drawn by someone in a hurry. But behind the odd look is one of Africa's toughest survivors. Hyenas live across much of the savannah and around the Okavango, where they spend their nights roaming, listening, and watching for any chance to feed. They are famous for their noisy whoops, their clan life, and their habit of making a living in places where nothing comes easy. Hyenas are built for hard times. They can eat almost anything, travel far, and raise their young in groups that stick close together. And when the sun goes down, they become part of the long, uneasy story of who eats, who escapes, and who gets to see another morning. A spotted hyena can weigh around 60 to 80 kilograms, and that heavy body hides a machine made for endurance. Its front legs are longer than the back ones, which gives it that sloping shape and a sort of rolling, awkward stride. But don't let that fool you. Those jaws are no joke. They can crack bones and get into food that other hunters leave behind. The coat is usually sandy gray with dark spots, and no two seem to wear the pattern the same way. The neck looks thick, the head broad, and the ears round, like little listening dishes. And then there is the famous laugh. It is not really a laugh, of course, but a sharp, rising call that can sound almost human when it floats through the dark. Hyenas live in clans, sometimes large ones, and the social order inside those clans is strict. Females usually lead, and they are often larger and tougher than the males. That matters because life here is built on competition. Food is never guaranteed. A hyena spends much of the night covering huge distances, scent marking, checking trails, and listening for the cries of other animals. It will happily eat leftovers, but it can also hunt for itself. In many places, hyenas are seen as thieves, but that is only part of the story. They are also patient hunters, willing to chase prey until it tires. And in the savannah, stamina can be just as useful as speed. Most of a hyena's day is spent resting in the shade, usually hidden in tall grass or at a den site where the pups stay safe. But once the heat softens and night settles in, the clan wakes up. Then the search begins. Hyenas use smell the way we use road signs. A fresh track, a dropped tuft of hair, the scent of blood carried on the wind. All of it tells a story. They often follow lions and other hunters, hoping to find a meal. But they are not just shadowing them. They are reading the whole landscape. They know where herds gather, where calves stumble, where a wounded animal might slow down. And if they do make a kill, they feed fast. There is always pressure from the clan, always another mouth waiting. Even the pups learn this early. Young hyenas are born in a den and stay close to it for weeks, fed by their mother and guarded by the clan. They begin life with teeth already showing, which feels just about right for an animal whose world is so rough. Their social life is tight and often loud. Greetings can include nuzzling, sniffing, and those excited calls that carry across the dark. A strong clan gives a hyena an edge. It means help with defense, help with hunting, and help raising young. A lone hyena has a much harder road. In the savannah, hyenas matter more than many people realize. They help clean up carcasses, which keeps disease from spreading. They also keep prey animals moving, which shapes where grazing pressure falls across the land. In that way, they help steer the whole rhythm of the grasslands. And because they can survive on so many different foods, they are among the animals most likely to endure when conditions get tough. Still, they are not safe from the pressures around them. Human growth, habitat loss, and conflict with livestock farmers can make life dangerous. Even so, hyenas keep showing up, night after night, doing what they have always done. There is something almost admirable about that stubborn grit. The afternoon fades, and the savannah starts to cool. A herd of wildebeest shifts nervously at the edge of a drying pan. Birds lift from the grass. Somewhere in the distance, lions are already moving. Then the first hyena appears on a ridge, nose low, ears up, reading the air. Another follows. Soon the clan is there, loping in from different directions, each one watching the herd and each other. The wildebeest bunch together. One calf breaks away. That is all it takes. The hyenas surge forward, fast and sure-footed, and the whole scene turns at once into noise and dust and panic. The calf runs hard, but the clan keeps coming, not in a straight rush, but in a shifting ring of pressure. The wildebeest swings left, then right, looking for a gap. The lions in the distance hear the commotion and start to move. Nothing in this place happens alone. Even here, even now, the night belongs to many voices, and when the dust finally settles, the hyenas are still there, breathing hard, alert, and very much alive. The water is so still, you could almost mistake it for glass. Then a low breath rolls out of the reeds, deep and rough, and the whole scene tightens. Something is already in motion out there, hidden in the grass islands and the floodwater, and the morning is about to get loud. That is where we meet the lion, the great hunter of the Okavango Delta, a place where land and water blur together and every step can turn risky. Here, a lion's power is not just in strength. It is in patience, timing, and learning how to move through a world that should not be easy to hunt in, but is. These lions live with floodwater around them, and they have found ways to make that work. They are built for this place, and they are still being tested by it. At over 200 kilograms, this cat carries a lot of force in a single body. But in the Okavango, size alone is not enough. A lion here can't just charge forward like it owns the ground. It has to read the water, the wind, and the herd. It has to become part of the marsh for a moment, then explode out of it at just the right time. In the Okavango, lions are known for a hunting style that feels almost like a game of silent chess. One group moves and makes noise to push prey where they want it. Another waits in the grass, still as driftwood, ready to strike. That split teamwork has been passed down through generations, and it gives these prides a real edge in a land that is always shifting. Their prey is often buffalo, and that is no small meal. Buffalo are tough, stubborn, and dangerous in their own right. A lion that brings one down has to hold on with everything it has, because letting go can mean losing the meal or getting hurt badly in the process. And those powerful jaws, with a bite force over 300 kilograms, can clamp down with a grip that leaves little room for escape. But lions do more than hunt for themselves. They help keep buffalo numbers in check, which in turn helps protect the vegetation across the delta. That matters here. When too many large grazers feed in one area, the grasslands suffer. So the lion's hunger ends up shaping the whole place. Life in a pride is also about family. Lions do not usually live alone for long. They move together, rest together, and raise their young together. The cubs learn by watching the adults, by following them through wet grass and shallow channels, and by hearing the calls that carry across the water at night. A pride is more than a group. It is a shared memory of how to survive here. And in the Okavango, that memory matters more than ever. The land is shrinking in places. Poaching and fencing break up territory. Prides grow smaller. Young lions have fewer choices and less room to roam. When a pride loses members, it loses more than muscle. It loses experience and sometimes the very future of the family. Still, these lions endure, adapted to a world most big cats would avoid. They have learned to swim if they must. They have learned to wait on floating islands of grass. They have learned that in this delta, water is not the enemy. It is part of the hunt. And that is what makes them so unforgettable. They are not just surviving in the Okavango. They are reading it, one breath at a time. Now picture late afternoon on the edge of a flooded channel. The light is low and golden. Buffalo are moving in a tight, uneasy line toward the water. Across from them, lions lie half hidden in the grass, only the tops of ears and the flick of a tail showing. One lion rises, then another. The herd senses trouble. A calf stumbles. Heads come up. Nostrils flare. The adults bunch together, and for a moment, the whole riverbank holds its breath. Then the lions move, not all at once. Just enough. One side of the pride surges forward, making a rush of noise through the reeds. The other side waits in silence, tucked into the shadow of a grass island. The buffalo turn hard, confused by the pressure from both directions. Water splashes. Hooves dig into mud. A big bull swings around, trying to guard the herd, but the lions are already there, low and fast, slipping through the confusion. A chase like this does not last long, but it does not need to. Every second counts, every misstep matters. Then comes the sound that changes everything. A sudden, panicked break in the herd as the buffalo scatter into the water in all directions. The river erupts. Mud flies. One lion hesitates at the edge, deciding whether to push deeper or hold back. Below the surface, danger waits too. Above it, the air is full of dust and fear. And then just as quickly, the scene settles again. The herd pulls away. The pride regathers. No one celebrates. In the Okavango, a hunt is never just a hunt. It is part of the bigger rhythm of the land, the lion's rest. The buffalo live to try again, and the delta, as always, keeps breathing. One of the most dangerous moments in the delta is also one of the quietest. It happens right before the chaos. The air feels still. The buffalo have come down to drink, but now they are trapped between deep water and open ground, and every nose in the herd knows it. Ahead, lions wait with patient eyes. Below the surface, crocodiles hold their breath. On the edge of the shallows, the day suddenly feels too small for all the danger pressing in at once. And then, without warning, the herd starts to shift. Buffalo are huge, stubborn animals, built like moving boulders, but even they can feel when the water's edge has turned into a trap. One nervous step becomes two. Heads swing, tails flick. A low rumble rolls through the group as if the whole herd is arguing at once. Then the pressure breaks. The buffalo herd explodes in every direction, and the shoreline comes alive. Water hammers upward. Mud flies. Hooves pound the bank. A wall of bodies surges past the waiting lions, and the cats have to choose fast. One wrong move, and the buffalo can turn from hunted to dangerous in a heartbeat. Some plunge back into the shallows, forcing the crocodiles to hesitate. Others charge straight through the confusion, blowing apart the careful line between land and water. It is all muscle, fear, and split-second instinct. No one gets to stay calm for long. In a place like this, the water's edge is never just a place to drink. It is a place where one mistake can decide everything. And when the dust settles and the spray falls back to the surface, the delta grows quiet again, as if it has simply taken a breath and waited for the next test. If Okavango had a sense of humor, it would probably laugh at how many different animals are trying to outsmart, outrun, or outmuscle each other in the same stretch of water. But that joke comes with a serious edge, because this place is not just beautiful. It is a living, breathing system that depends on every part doing its job. The lions help keep the buffalo herds in check. The wild dogs move prey around the landscape. The crocodiles carve out quiet water pools. The hippos feed the water with life. And when one piece starts to slip, the whole thing feels it. That is why protecting this delta matters so much. Fences, poaching, pollution, and changes in the flood water do not just affect one animal. They change the future of the whole region, including the people who live beside it and depend on it. There is still hope here, though. Protected land, careful research, and local conservation work can make a real difference. So if this journey moved you, please give the video a like, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments. And if you know someone who loves lions, rivers, or the quiet power of wild places, send this their way. Until next time, may you always find a little wonder in the world outside your window.